April Dawkins is a current assistant professor in the Information, Library, and Research Sciences Department at UNC Greensboro. Prior to this, she worked as a high school librarian and social studies teacher in North Carolina for 21 years. April Dawkins holds a PhD in Library and Information Sciences from the University of South Carolina, a master's degree in Library Science from North Carolina Central University, and a Bachelor's of Art in History from Meredith College. Dawkins' areas of expertise include school libraries, school librarian preparation, advocacy, intellectual freedom, book banning, and student privacy. Dawkins serves on the advisory board of the Get Ready, Stay Ready Toolkit, which is an advocacy tool for librarians, parents, and caregivers concerning intellectual freedom. She is also the current director at large on the executive board of the American Association of School Librarians. April Dawkins has several published works that include The School Library Manager Leading Through Change, Intellectual Freedom Issues in School Libraries, and she has worked on the Digital Legacy Library Technology Report from the American Library Association. She worked on the chapter titled Digital Citizenship, Digital Legacy, and School Librarians. Dawkins has many interviews in print and podcast form concerning book banning, censorship, and intellectual freedom. The following quotes are taken from Dawkins' interview with Intellectual Freedom blog after publishing her book, Intellectual Freedom Issues in School Libraries. Dawkins states, "I was concerned as a practicing high school librarian for 15 years. I remember I added the first LGBTQ books to the collection at my first school. I did a display of new acquisitions, including LGBTQ titles. A faculty member saw and asked, 'What is this and why did you buy it?' We had a frank discussion about intellectual freedom and about the presence of LGBTQ titles. He didn't agree with me, but he said, 'You are the expert here.' The discussion was important. We discussed this in our young adults materials class at UNC Greensboro. I felt fairly prepared to handle a materials challenge, but as I talk with other librarians, I see this as an area of great concern. I've seen that school librarians struggle with knowing their policies and being willing to speak up for their students. We also have a real issue of school administrators not understanding the role of school librarians. They do not have a clear idea of what a school librarian does. I met with a group of school administrators last spring to talk about the value of school librarians. Having access to administrators is challenging, but needed." Dawkins co-worked on research looking over school library policies from 80 different school districts across the United States. She compared the selection policies acquired for research to professional selection standards that are found in Selection and Reconsideration Policy Toolkit for Public School and Academic Libraries that is published by the American Library Association. The areas I noticed in this study, and that Dawkins references throughout, is that only 14% of the policies examined contain an intellectual freedom statement, and then 0% of policies contained a definition of intellectual freedom. Another aspect that was troubling is that out of 80 policies, only 62 had revision and adoption statements. Out of these 62, 22 hadn't been updated or revised in the last decade. I thought this held great information and points and would be great to look at when filling out a school library selection policy manual. I would have loved to have found this last semester when I was working on creating one for class.